Certainly, something that's at its very, very core, is the fact that there are morality plays, and hopefully the hero triumphs over evil. And even in the sake of Marvel Comics, even when the hero doesn't win, there's still an overall lesson to be learned about being heroic in the face of defeat. So yeah, I mean, there's always that uplifting message with comics, and I think that's part and parcel, part of the charm of comic books.
Ready for my close-ups.
I'm Brandon Peterson.
Hi, this is Tim Townsend.
Hi, my name is Tony Harris.
This is Adam Hughes.
My name is Pop Man.
My name is Mike Pluke.
I'm Jonathan Luna.
Josh.
Cully Hamner.
Todd DeZego.
They call me a lot of things.
I searched my brain a long time to come up with the name I wanted for my store. The full name actually came from a Fleetwood Mac song. I twisted it up a little bit. Their song was Heroes Are Hard to Find, and I just put the aren't on it because we obviously had plenty of them. They weren't hard to find here.
I see you're a fan of the series.
Oh, yeah. Well, the reason I was asking about the originals is I'm a doctor as well. And
really?
Yeah, so issue 2 has a lot of medical scenes.
I referenced that like crazy. I tried to make sure, and then he also used a lot of medical dialogue in that series too.
Yeah.
The thing I love about it is I can actually interact with all the other artists, and it's not a big deal. You don't feel like it's not impossible to approach people. To me, it's my favorite. It's the artist convention.
I see a poster there for Nightcrawler, the movie. Is this a story you're trying to develop or something you just played around with?
It was just a fun thing.
That's a great poster.
It's based on the mini-series. We got the Bamfs there, and there's one Boggy back in there somewhere. But it's purely a fun spoof thing. And I was hoping you would do a Beast sketch like that.
A little Beast? I'd always liked comics, and I grew up drawing all the time. I think it's a great job. You get to work at home, you get to set your own hours, you get to draw incredibly fun things and make fantasies happen. Well, these are a little more cat-looking, but I've sort of tried to tinker with them a little bit in our own way. Because the guys before were making him very cat-like, like he's turning into a cat. And I kind of like the idea that he doesn't know what he's turning into. I don't like that he knows that direction. I like the idea that maybe in the back of his mind he's afraid he's turning into just some monster, something indescribable. It goes a long way to meet fans and find out that so many people appreciate what you do. And there's not a whole lot of industries, there's not a whole lot of jobs on this planet where you get to actually have a fan besides your mother.
It's nice meeting you.
You bet, nice meeting you. Take care.
I was getting roughly, I think, $60 or $65 to do a Superman cover or a Batman cover or one of these covers. Then they had an auction in San Diego of Wonder Woman. She was strapped to a bomb falling on New York City. They sold that thing at the auction for $9,000. Wow. My first convention was in 1996, and it was here. And then people started praising me for my work. When I was doing it, nobody gave a damn.
I'm a brush painter that borrows from Eastern traditions of Zen art, as well as Western styles of acrylic painting and oil painting. Style usually starts with an energy stroke, which is a random stroke that's not premeditated, and after that, you form the image from that, so it keeps it fresh, keeps it alive. David Mack introduced me to the comic book convention world, where I could find publishers and other people to make a living. And thanks to him, I was able to understand the business of comics and, going to conventions.
Pretty much I'm one of the rare guys in the industry, and then I do my own pencils and inks. Some people do the job separately.
I have a cable that.
But I also do colors as well, so I'm kind of a triple threat or a triple disgrace, depending on your opinion. Comics, just the mass appeal of seeing the stuff in movies and things, it's not considered that sort of geeky closet, that's not cool. And I always point this out to people, because it's still a little bit of that stereotype. I go, what are the top movies of all time? Superheroes, fantasy, and science fiction. So if it's only like a couple hundred geeks going to all these movies, they must have a lot of money to spend. Because as far as I can see, it looks like everybody like going to Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. So I guess everybody's a little geeky at heart.
The kind of stories you can tell, the kind of art you make is basically limitless, It's just all up to you, your mind and imagination. Telling stories and drawing pictures on paper and making books, and I like that kind of old school flavor about it.
In 1986, there was a small publisher in Arizona that got the license for Disney comic books in America, I guess because nobody else wanted it. And I saw that as the opportunity that I'd always wanted to write and draw just one Uncle Scrooge story. Donald Duck comics are the world's most popular comic books still, every place except in the United States. Here they're totally unknown now. But in the rest of the world, especially in Europe, they're the best-selling. They're not just the best-selling comic books, they're the best-selling anything. Nothing sells more than the weekly Donald Duck comics. In Europe, you wouldn't be able to get close to me. I have security guards. It's like being a minor rock star in Europe. It's very relaxing in America.
Books that are often described as depressing and existentialist, both of which are probably poor descriptions. I don't often get out to mainstream conventions that have more of the superhero type stuff, but this seems to be a pretty good mix of everybody. You've got the Indie Island, which is all the alternative stuff, and then more of the mainstream stuff kind of seeming to congeal together rather well.
This year is great because they're doing the whole Indie Island area with the independent artists, and so that's really cool, and that's why I'm part of this time, because I have my comic book that came out last month, Zigzag. Last year was the first time I actually set up, and I was in the back wall area where the small press people, and so that was really cool to set up at. It's totally surreal, like you're sitting on the other side of the table.
Just like really the idea of creating something, the imagination that's put into it. Like when you really start speaking with people, it's like you start talking about that, it's like you start getting on that level with them. It's like very rewarding, very, very cool. When you create something and have them actually wish to purchase it or possess it or whatnot, it's like not only is that really flattering, but also too, it's just sort of you think you really make a really interesting connection with that person. There you go. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoy the rest of the convention. Thank you.
I think all kids draw, but I think the kids that stick with it and keep drawing, and then they start drawing heroes and stuff, they just want to draw comics. They want to draw superheroes and, fantasy adventure. And I remember being in high school looking through a comic book and seeing an ad for the Joe Kubert School, and I had to go there. So I attended the Joe Kubert School for 3 years, and in my senior year scored my first gig at DC, and it's been a roller coaster of working in comics ever since. I've worked Marvel, DC, Image, Acclaim. I've been around the block.